Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, then hi, my name's Hannah, and today I'm going to be telling you about what is perhaps one of my favourite pieces of art from the ancient world. Over the last month or so, I've seen a huge surge in views on my Alexander the Great video, and I can see why. He was a fascinating figure from ancient history, and he achieved what was never imagined before him. The legacy of Alexander the Great has been passed down to us through the written word, thanks to people such as Arrian, a Greek historian. But we also have depictions of Alexander in art, showing him as a Hellenistic king and as a fearless leader in battle against the Persians. The most famous depiction of Alexander the Great has got to be the Alexander Mosaic from the House of the Faun in Pompeii. Now we all know that the Vesuvian eruption in 79 AD destroyed Pompeii. However, this mosaic actually dates to about 120 to 100 BC. Like I said, the mosaic comes from the House of the Faun, which would have been owned by some seriously wealthy people, as we can tell from the layout, the sheer size of the place, and also the other artworks. The mosaic would have been set into the floor of the exedrae, which you can kind of think of as a sort of home office, where the man of the household or the paterfamilias would have received clients and done business deals. The mosaic was 5.13 meters wide and 2.72 meters tall, and so you can imagine that as a client walking into the exedrae, it would have been pretty imposing. So, what does the mosaic actually show us? Well, there were 3 battles fought against Alexander the Great and Darius III, the Battle of the Granicus River, the Battle of Gaugamela, and the Battle of Issus. The general consensus among historians nowadays is that the battle shown is the Battle of Issus, for a number of reasons. One of these being that, thanks to the Greek historian Arrian, we know that at this battle in particular, the Macedonian and Greek troops severely outnumbered the Persians. We also know that this battle happened in November, and if you look at the back of the mosaic, there is a tree with no leaves on it, so seasonally it adds up. During the Hellenistic period, from the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC to the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, there is a huge trend in art called pathos. Now, pathos is where the artist is trying to show deep emotion in the figures' faces, and you can see that clearly in the mosaic. Alexander the Great is also shown as the prototype of a Hellenistic king, with a furrowed brow, a straight nose, a mass of wild lion mane hair. He's also wearing a Medusa gorgon on his breastplate, which is a typical Greek myth. Perhaps he is trying to emulate her powers and turn his own enemies to stone. Alexander is also shown holding a circa, which was a traditional Macedonian weapon that is kind of like a really long spear. The other main figure, of course, is Darius III, who you can tell is petrified, and again, thanks to Arrian, we know that he fled that battle, and you can see his charioteer is turning his horses away, as if to flee. Darius and his men are being shown with raw emotion how terrified they are because they know that they've lost and they're gonna die. But please don't get this confused with the artist as showing sympathy for the Persians. I mean, it's possible, but we don't know that. And pathos is shown in a variety of art mediums. And considering that showing raw emotions was such a trend, I'm not sure it's that likely. Now, as you can tell, the detail in the Alexander mosaic is outstanding, and it is made up of 1.5 million tiny tiles called tesserae, and the style is called opus vermiculatum, which loosely translates to wormwork because of the way that the tiles squiggle like a worm moves, which is really interesting. Another really interesting fact about the mosaic is that it's potentially a copy of an earlier classical painting by someone called Philoxenos of Eretria. But again, we don't know definitively. Like I said earlier, the mosaic would have been set into the floor, and this would have impacted how you read the artwork. And if you go to the actual archaeological site in Pompeii, you see a copy in its place, and that gives you a better impression of what the ancients would have seen when they saw it. However, the original is in the National Archaeological Museum in Naples, and it's on the wall, so it's a bit of a distorted view. Last semester, I had to give a presentation on whether or not I thought that the mosaic should have been named the Darius Mosaic instead. And then for my coursework, I had to write an essay on the relationship between Roman and Greek culture during the Hellenistic period and what we can learn from it from the Alexander Mosaic. And I got a first, so I am very interested in this topic. And that is it for today's video. I hope you guys found it interesting. I could genuinely sit here and talk for hours about the Alexander Mosaic, but I'm gonna have to stop myself. If you guys would like me to maybe write a blog post about this, then let me know down below. Maybe I should just bite the bullet. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!